Where's Luna?
Meet Luna. On her smiley and cheeky surface, she looks like your usual 2-year-old girl. Now, while Luna's happy and smiling and active now, as you can see, her start to life was far from a walk in the park. In just the first weeks of her life, she was diagnosed with a rare liver disease, which would ultimately lead to months of heartache, perseverance from her family, and eventually a liver transplant at just 10 months old.
So biliary atresia was diagnosed, and biliary atresia is where the liver, the bile builds up in the liver and it begins to damage the liver, and which eventually can lead to, or does lead to, end-stage liver failure. And children with this condition are given 2 years.
The initial stages were just the start of the long journey for Luna, with her parents having to come to terms with the shock news that she'd need a transplant.
Just because there's a potential liver available does not mean it's going to happen. We were sent home at the end of a very, very long, very emotional day. So 17 hours later, and we came home with Luna and no liver. And that happened again a fortnight or so later, the same thing in the middle of the night. And the third time was, I think, from when she'd been listed about 2 months later. And the phone rang in the middle of the morning, and it was the liver that Luna now has. And off we went to King's, and it was calm, and it was fine. The conditions were all perfect. And she went down for her transplant at about 4 the following morning, 7th of November, and came back to us.
Luna's new liver, though, was a success, and while she's happy and full of life now, Isobel knows it could have been so much different without an organ donor. She's now urging more of us to be on the list and potentially save more lives.
In a sense, you do inherit another sort of basket of problems with a transplanted organ, but I have a child now, a healthy child, and long may that continue, and we can only hope and take each day as it comes. But for now, we are incredibly lucky, and Luna now does have a future, whereas just over a year ago she didn't.
Many of you may have your own thoughts on organ donation, but Luna at least is an example of how one life can help open a new chapter for even the youngest of lives. Harry Pete for KMTV in Stansted.